Hello, I'm Kaiser and welcome to Moose Reads. Before I get started, I want to say that the opinions that I give here are my own opinions. They are extremely subjective. If I dislike a book, it is not a reflection on the author and it is not a reflection on people who do like it. Different people have different tastes and that's okay. Today, I will be reviewing Underworld by S.D. Perry. This is the fourth book in the Resident Evil series. It is a sci-fi horror, the description says. Umbrella has begun to lose control of its hidden research facilities. 3 labs have already been destroyed, but beneath the deserts of the American Southwest, one of the company's most elaborate facilities is about to go online. 3 stars. This is the second entry that Perry made up entirely on her own. You'd think after she wrote a book intending to make this series her own, only to be gainsaid by the games, she'd learn her lesson, but no. It's actually a little funny reading these, knowing what comes next, because you get to see all the little places Perry shoots herself in the foot when she really didn't have to. They're mostly small instances, but I think this book is the second time she talks about Jill leaving the city, and that's going to bite her in the ass when we get to the next book. At any rate, because Perry is coming off of City of the Dead / Resident Evil 2, in which Claire is trying to find her brother Chris, Perry starts this book with the team from the Umbrella Conspiracy, sans Rebecca, being on a mission in Europe and possibly being in trouble. The rest of the gang, including the OCs from Caliban Cove and Leon and Claire, hop in an airplane to go find them. They are, I am sad to say, interrupted by Trent. He's here to kick off the plot by diverting them from their intended mission to instead undertake a time-sensitive operation. He wants them to infiltrate a facility that is just being finished because one of the head honchos has taken it upon himself to supervise, and he always carries a book that will theoretically produce the evidence necessary to take down Umbrella. Everyone feels a little uncomfortable with Trent appearing suddenly on their plane, but they agree that they can't pass up the opportunity. John, one of the remaining OCs, doesn't trust this Trent guy and decides that he's going to interrogate him as soon as they land. John, you see, is the victim of this book's stupid stick. Honestly, I figured Trent would jump out of the plane the moment he headed to the cockpit to let them discuss things, but he actually stayed the entire flight and then vanished as soon as they hit the ground. So if John had just done the sensible thing and interrogated Trent when they were trapped in an airplane together, he might have gotten some answers. Can't have that, though. Trent is too mysterious to answer questions. At any rate, they all head to the site of the new facility, which is underground, with a surveillance facility of some kind, weather or something, I don't remember, acting as a front. David then gets hit a little with the stupid stick because he knows full well there will be cameras somewhere in the building, but rather than attempting to do anything about that, he just has everyone look around for the secret entrance to the lab and then fumbles through all the possible entry codes until the elevator opens. Obviously, someone sees them doing things they shouldn't do in a place they shouldn't be and immediately takes steps to stop them, which results in Leon and John getting into the lab alone while the others are trapped on the surface with a strike team inbound, which is basically where the plot properly starts. This book, much like Caliban Cove, suffers from a population problem that mitigates the threat level. Sure, there are plenty of people this time, but unless Perry is willing to actively risk contradicting any future games, only 2 of those people are allowed to die. All the same, I liked this book a lot. It's the other contender for best book, in my opinion. The stuff that happens with the above ground team is mostly the type of action spy movie bullshit that I'm not crazy about, but I like the characters enough that it's fine, and John and Leon get to have some fun plot things happen in the facility that I really enjoyed. But, I said in my Caliban Cove review that there was a part in the book that reminded me a lot of a scene in one of the movies, and here we are in the other Resident Evil book that isn't just one of the games, and I'm getting the same feeling. See, the facility in question is something of a testing ground or showcase for Umbrella's bioweapons. They've carefully simulated 4 distinct biomes where various monsters will shine, and Leon and John are going to have to run the gauntlet. It's a lot of fun, but once again I couldn't help but think of one of the films. I think it's the 5th film, but there are so many of them and they lack any series coherency, so I honestly don't know. Whichever it is, at some point Alice, the protagonist, ends up in an underground facility. located in the vast emptiness of the Arctic rather than the vast emptiness of a southwestern desert, that has carefully simulated a number of locations. Granted, the movie version is just replicating major cities rather than the forest, desert, mountain, and, well, city biomes of the book facility, but it really starts to feel like the movie people were copying their homework. Copying it badly, because the facility in Underworld was much more interesting. You might argue that since the movies are also Resident Evil, it's not that weird that they would overlap in places, which I'm willing to grant in the case of the games. But it feels a lot less reasonable to me when it's essentially Perry's Resident Evil fanfiction they are sampling. Still, maybe it's just an odd coincidence. Or maybe it's deliberate and I'm the only person that thinks that's not really okay. Whatever. That's it for no spoilers. If you don't like spoilers, now is the time to pause or close the video. For everyone else, let's talk details. Like I said before, this book has a population problem. Unlike the other books, though, this one doesn't have even the benefit of a horde of zombies that used to be people but are now shambling corpses to try to balance it out. Barely anyone dies in this book. 2 people die in the facility, one of which is our resident bad guy, and the other is also an Umbrella employee, though admittedly one who clearly just didn't realize what he was getting into. I was sad to see him go, especially since he survived a lot longer than I expected when he first got stuck in the testing facility with Leon and John. Actually, I'm pretty sure the upstairs team have a higher body count than any of the monsters, which is ridiculous. Also ridiculous is the part where Leon and John decide to wake up the resident tyrant to destroy the facility without having secured their exit. They really just said, "I'm sure it'll be fine," and then nearly got killed by it. This marks the second time in these books that the protagonists have released the tyrant when they didn't have to, and I hate it. We also finally get to learn what the deal is with Trent at the end of this book. That's after we learn that he is a security consultant Umbrella hired recently that has so completely earned their trust and respect that the bad guy in this book, who is one of the men in charge of the whole company, wants to impress him. So the question of why he needs to badly recruit others to find evidence is just way more significant. But also, it turns out that his parents invented the T-virus. Or rather, his parents invented the nice version of the T-virus that heals people. Then Umbrella was like, fuck that, we want bioweapons, and murdered them. So Trent is their kid that Umbrella just didn't bother about, and he's out for revenge. Fans of the games, which you probably are if you've read these books, will know that there are some major continuity issues with that idea. But it's fine. Perry gives up after Resident Evil 0, so none of this is actually going anywhere. Still, it baffles me that she thought she could get away with such a fundamental change to the underlying lore of the games without for sure creating continuity issues. That's all I have to say about Underworld. If you like this video, I hope you watch more in the future. Thanks for watching this one. Bye!